Hi guys, how you doing? Welcome back. Just a quick little video today. I know it's a Saturday, I don't normally do a video on a Saturday, but just thought it was a little bit important. Bitcoin, let's talk about Bitcoin today. Now there's been a lot of speculation about Bitcoin hitting 150 grand the last quarter of this year, and then even more speculation of it going up to 300 grand the first quarter of next year, which is pretty big, doubling if it does. Now recently the price, it was going well, you know, hit the all-time high of 126 grand, and then it took a bit of a beating, went down to 109. Today as we talk, it's just under 112 grand. It's been sort of wobbling around the 109, 111 grand mark for the last week or so, but there's also been a lot of speculation about it halving in price. Now the markets have been a bit wobbly, a little bit scared, because there's been a lot of movement with some big wallets, some whale wallets, as they say, including one wallet, a dormant wallet for 14 years that had 150 Bitcoin worth about $16 million, which has been moved. Now the reasoning behind this, I mean, obviously this creates a lot of fear. When the whales start shifting big amounts like that, it creates a lot of fear, you get a lot of squeaky bums. But if you ask me, once that is brought to light, obviously it's all very transparent, once that's brought to light that there's been big movements like that, it can create very, very quick crashes in the markets, and that hasn't happened. You know, it's dropped, it's dropped a little bit, it's dropped like, you know, 14 grand or whatever, but it's not the end of the world. It's still up high, so I personally don't think it's going to halve. You know, the news is out there now that this dormant wallet, 14-year-old wallet, Whale's wallet, has had 150 Bitcoin moved. That news is out there and the market hasn't crashed. It's dropped a little bit, but a lot of that is off the back of the all-time high. Obviously when Bitcoin reaches an all-time high, obviously a lot of people cash out. A lot of people can make their money, they wait for it to come back down, and then they invest back in. So it's not the end of the world, you know. It's dropped a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. Like I said, the majority of that drop is people cashing out after it hitting an all-time high, which always happens. We know that always happens. You know, a lot of people cash out. You know, if you've bought Bitcoin for 4 grand a few years ago, and now it's worth 126 grand, you know, if you cash that out, you've got a nice bit of profit, and then you can buy it back when it goes low, and you know, we all know what happens. But yeah, the majority of that drop is because of that. It's not because of the movement in the wallets. I mean, that might have helped a little bit towards it. Obviously, you get a lot of people panic when you see things like that, but it hasn't knocked a massive hole in it, is what I'm saying. So I don't think it's going to happen. There's a lot of talk about it. There's a lot of fear mongering. It's going to drop to 52 grand. But I personally think if that was going to happen, it would have happened. You know, people would have panicked when this 150 Bitcoin's been moved. I mean, 60 million quid is a lot. You know, $16.6 million worth of Bitcoin. When that's been moved, that could have created a knock-on effect. People start selling, blah, blah, blah. It didn't happen. So to me, I'm still pretty sure that we're going to hit 150k. Although I say hasn't been a massive lot of movement. As you can see here, it is up a little bit at the moment. But I think this is just a little lull before the high. So personally, I think it can still go up to 150 grand, and then depending on what happens, maybe they will be right. It will go up to 300 grand next year. But I know there's a lot of investors that are moving their Bitcoin. You know, a lot of investors that maybe feel a bit vulnerable to quantum attacks, and they want to move their Bitcoin to different addresses where they're more secure. You know, we all know it's very transparent. Obviously the technology is getting better for hackers and stuff. So yeah, a lot of people have been moving their portfolios to different addresses just because they're scared of quantum attacks. So yeah, I don't think it's anything to panic about. I think it's just people being safe, you know. Obviously as well, why Bitcoin's up relatively high, that helps, you know. It helps create more interest and bring the price up. So yeah, it was just a quick little video really, because after obviously me barking on about it hitting 150 grand end of October, and obviously we're approaching that now and it's looking unlikely. I mean, they did say end of October, early November, so personally I think it's still got room for that to happen. But obviously you do get a bit of a dip before it goes on a spike. But yeah, just basically the video was about that, because I was talking about it hitting 150k and 300k next year, and a lot of people saying, oh yeah, but it's going to go down to 52 grand. But personally, I think if that was going to happen, it would have happened. You know, we've had all this scaremongering of these wallets moving large amounts around, and it's still stayed up. And personally, that little bit that it's dropped, that 15 grand or whatever that it's dropped, is just due to it hitting an all-time high and a lot of people cashing out. It's not enough. For me, that's not enough to come off of the price for loads of people panicking about whales moving things around and large amounts. You know, to me, that's the similar sort of amount that we see when it hits an all-time high and people cashing out afterwards. So personally, I mean, obviously, you know, we don't know what's going to happen. No one knows what's going to happen tomorrow, which affects the markets. But personally, I can't see it halving. I can't see it halving drastically like that. Like I said, if it had dropped a lot after all this news about wallets being moved around, then maybe, but it hasn't. It's, say, the little bit it has dropped to me is just down to people cashing out after the all-time high. So personally, I still, you know, even though we're late in October now, personally, I still think that that maybe it's just got a bit of a knock-on effect because of maybe this moving around with wallets. So maybe it's going to happen in November now. But personally, I think it's going to go out on a high at the end of the year. I really do. So hopefully, fingers crossed, 150k, and then we'll see what happens next year. I mean, if it does hit the 150k, I'll be extra confident it's going to hit the 300k. But we'll see. But all the video's about really is don't panic. And just the reason why I think it has dipped a bit, like I said, is just because of people cashing out, not because of all this fear mongering about wallets being moved around high end. You know, people panic. People that have got a few grand invested see that someone's got 16 million quid worth moving around, and people start to panic and want to sell. But you know, it's just, I think it's just, obviously you have to keep one step ahead, because the hackers are obviously, they're on top of their game all the time. They're improving, and if you've got a load of Bitcoin or a load of crypto sitting in an account that's been dormant for 14 years, imagine how the security's changed in 14 years. So yeah, they're just being you know, being safe, playing it safe, and moving it to somewhere a little bit more unexposed, shall we say. But yeah, personally, I mean, do your own research, like I say with everything. You know, keep a close eye on the markets, Coin Market Cap, Cointelegraph, all the rest of them. You know, but CoinDesk. But just keep an eye on it. But personally, I don't think there's anything to worry about. I don't. I think it's going to go up. I think it's going to end on a high. Anyway, just a quick little video regarding that, because I've had a lot of comments about, you know, oh, you say it's going to go 150 grand, and people are saying it's going to drop to 52. So I just thought I'd just put my 2 penn'orth in just to say what I think. But yeah, this big news from these wallets moving around, I just think it's people taking security measures. I don't think it's to do with plummeting the price, and 2, I think that's just, I say, people cashing out from it hitting the all-time high of 126k. Anyway, have a good weekend. If you want to check out anything that's working for me trading-wise, there's links below the video to what I'm using at the moment. Don't forget to subscribe. Stay safe. Have a good weekend, and I'll be back with you next week with more updates and reviews. Thank you.